All right, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, citizens of YouTube. This is Pastor Down. I've got some very important news that I need to get out to you. It's just sent to me in my email hot, so it's coming right off the press, right off the shelf. So it looks like that we are definitely watching the energy and the passion behind these Democrats who are trying to go for the jugular, pending this quote-unquote last tragedy and murder that we just had, this terrorist attack we had on this soil right here. Email that I just received, and I'm going to leave the source anonymous here for a second. It reads this: all the stuff that's been bought to protect your family will soon be illegal, just like under Clinton in 1994. 2 Republican senators have recently been replaced due to death or resignation, raising the Senate count to 57 Democrats. And then, of course, I'm going to read this particular outline right here by the NRA-ILA. All right. And has an outline on the features of the new bill, assault weapons ban. Note the language. Regardless, look what it says. It says requires grandfather's weapons to be registered. Now, if any of you are familiar with the Registration Act of any type of registration whatsoever at all it is a list to let the government know exactly who possesses what. And the reason for that registration and the reason why it's been used according to historical facts is that they use it to confiscate guns or to actually center their attention and focus on a certain demographics of people. That's the purpose of registration. Now listen to this. In other words, to keep what you have, you will now have to get a permit. Your inalienable rights turned into taxed privileges. Including fingerprinting, ID card, and permission for a local law enforcement. Imagine MPD deciding if you needed a permit or not. All right. What is insidious about this is the new bill, the language about transfer and possession has been added. Therefore, you could not even leave your possessions to your dependents on your death. They could be seized. Or other federal serves could access your medical records, and in any event of such as depression illnesses, you hear that? Depression illnesses, instability, divorce, custody battle, unemployment, death in family, could add you to the NICS database. Think it can't happen? It already did to over 100,000 war veterans who were never convicted or arrested or have committed outpatient counseling. Look at this. From this other article, which we'll go over here for a second, it says, I've always bought this problem, or I always thought that this problem is easy to solve from the DC standpoint. All that the executive has to do is repeal an amendment and then confiscation will be perfectly constitutional. We repealed amendments before, like prohibition. Let me see. Who will they come for next? When is it your turn? I think one of the founders says, listen to what they said. We will all hang together, or we shall surely all be hanged apart. Now, going into this particular letter right here. Feinstein goes broke with new gun bill. Posted December 27, 2012. Senator Dianne Feinstein, Democrat, California, author of the Federal Assault Weapons and Large Ammunition Magazines ban of 1994 to 2004, has announced that on the first day of the new Congress, January 3rd, she will introduce a bill in which her 1994 ban will pale in comparison. On December 17th, Feinstein said, I have been working with my staff for over a year on this legislation, and it will be carefully focused in depicting the depth of her research on the issue. She said on December 21st that she had personally looked at pictures of guns in 1993 and again in 2012. And according to December 27, posted Senator Feinstein's website on the draft of the bill to obtain NRA-ILA, the new ban would, among other things, adapt new definitions of assault weapons that would affect a much larger variety of firearms. Requirements currently owners of such firearms to register them with the federal government under the National Firearms Act and require forfeiture of the firearms upon the deaths of the current owners. Some of the changes in Feinstein bills are as follows. Are y'all hearing this? If you have a weapon registered to you, then that means you cannot transfer it to your descendants. But upon death, it must be required as what they're saying by law to be turned into your government. It's getting crazy out here, folks. Reduces, 1. From 1 to 2 on a number of permitted external features of various forms. In 1994, the ban permitted various firearms to be manufactured only if they were assembled with no more than one feature listed by law. Feinstein new bill would prohibit the manufacturers of the same firearms with even one of the features. Number 2, adopts a new list of prohibited external features. For example, whereas in 1994, the ban applied to a rifle or shotgun, the pistol grip of which protrudes conspicuously beneath the action of the weapon. The new bill would drastically expand the definition to include any grip or any other characteristic that can be functioned as a grip. Also, the new bill adds forward grip to the list of the prohibiting features of rifles, defining it as a grip located forward of the trigger and the functions of the pistol grip. Read literally in the conjunction with the reduction of the 2 features to 1. The new language would apply to every detachable magazine semi-automatic. At a minimum, it would, for example, ban all models of AR-15, even those developed by compliances with California's highly restrictive ban. Get out of California. Get out of California. Get out of California. Not only that, you watch it, because this thing, they're trying to make this thing go all across the United States. All right, carries. Hyperbolt, farther than the 1994 ban. Feinstein's 1994 ban listed grenade launcher as one of the prohibited features of the rifles. Her 2013 bill goes even farther into a ridiculous by also listing rocket launcher. Such devices is restricted under the National Firearms Act and obviously are not standard components of the firearm. Feinstein wants to ban. Perhaps a subsequent Feinstein bill will add nuclear bomb, the particle beam weapon, or something else equally far-fetched as, to the features listed. Expansion and the definition of the assault weapons by including, here it is, three very popular rifles. Number 1, the M1 carbine, introduced in 1944 and for many years sold by the federal government to individuals invoked in marksmanship competition, a model of the Ruger Mini 14, and most of the models of the SKS. Any semi-automatic center-fired or rim-fire rifle that has a fixed magazine with the capacity to accept more than 10 rounds, except for tubular magazines 22. Now, I know many of you people are not familiar with the Constitution and stuff, but do you know that whatever firepower that the government has, the citizenry should be able to be able not only to own, but to possess the same amount of firepower without being regulated. Most people don't know that the Second Amendment is actually put there to protect us against stuff like this. That's what it's there for. It's against legislation. It's against government going crazy. It's against a tyrannical government going wild. All right. Any semi-automatic rimfire or center-fired rimfire rifle that has overall length of less than 30 inches, any semi-automatic handgun with a fixed magazine that has capacity to accept more than 10 rounds, and any semi-automatic handgun that has a treaded barrel. Ricardo, you could tell this woman don't know if she's the author of this bill. These are definitely people. These people ain't never fired a BB gun before. They just making up stuff as they go. Requires owners of existing assault weapons to register with the federal government under the National Firearms Act, NFA. And the NFA poses a $200 per, look at this, tax per firearm. And requires the owner to submit photographs and fingerprints to the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms and Explosives to inform the BATFE of the addresses of where the firearm will be kept and to be obtained by the BATFE's permission to transport the firearm across state lines. Prohibits the transfer of assault weapons or owners and other firearms, including those converted by the NFA, a permit to sell them or pass them to heirs. However, under the Feinstein new bill, the assault weapons would remain with the current owners until their deaths, at which point they would be forfeited to the government. What I tell you, even before I even got there, prohibits the domestic. See, this is big government. This is big government. See, the way this thing's supposed to run, the government's supposed to fear the people, not people the government. And this is definitely unconstitutional. This is off the chain. This, as a matter of fact, this is something made up from the third world order of Mars or something. And people actually can have the audacity to write something like this. America, we are 360 plus million strong. And I'll leave it at that. Prohibits the domestic manufacture of the importation of magazines that hold more than 10 rounds of ammunition. The 1994 ban allowed for the importation of such magazines that were manufactured before the ban took effect, whereas in 1994 the ban protected gun owners from errant prosecution by making the government prove when the magazine was made. The new ban includes no such protections. The new ban also requires firearm dealers to certify the date of the manufacture of any 10-round magazine sold, virtually impossible task given that virtually no magazines are stamped with their date of manufacture. Targeted handguns in defiance of the Supreme Court. The court ruled in the District of Columbia versus Heller that the Second Amendment protects the right to have guns for self-defense, in large part of the basis of the fact that handguns are the type of firearm overwhelmingly chosen by American society for that lawful purpose. Semi-automatic pistols, which are the most popular handguns today, are designed to use detachable magazines, and the magazines overwhelmingly chosen by Americans for self-defense are those that hold more than 10 rounds. Additionally, Feinstein's list is nearly 1,000 firearms exempted by name, see next paragraph, contains not a single handgun. Senator Feinstein advocated banning handguns before being elected to the Senate, though she carried a handgun for her own personal protection. Stage playing, satanic hypocrites. The woman carries a gun for her own personal protection. Dianne Feinstein, Senator, Democrat of California. And yet she wants to pass all this legislation and push all this stuff. You know why? Because there ain't no law enforcement people or CIA, FBA or the BATF is going to walk up to a senator and ask her, do you got a gun on you? They ain't going to do that. What a total abuse of power. Well, I'm going to speak truth to power here tonight. I'm going to finish reading this letter. Contains a larger piece of the window dressing of the 1994 ban, whereas the 1994 ban included a list of approximately 600 rifles and shotguns exempted from the ban by name. The new bills is a list is necessary to nearly 1,000 rifles and shotguns other than of the level detachable magazine, semi-automatic rifles, and other semi-automatic rifles included in the list. However, if the list appears to be pointless because of the separation provision, a separate provision in the bill exempts by firearm is the manual operated by bolt, pump, lever, or side action. The Department of Justice study on their website, Feinstein claims that a study of the DOJ found in 1994 ban resulted in a 6.7% decrease in murders. To the contrary, that is what the study said. At best, the assault weapons bans can have only a limited effect on the total gun murders because the banned weapons and magazines were never involved in more than a modest fraction of all gun murders. Our best estimate is that the ban contributed to 6.7% of decrease in a total of gun murders between 1994 and 1995. However, only 1 year of the post-ban, we cannot rule out the possibility that this decrease reflects chance year-to-year variation rather than the true effect on the ban. Nor can we rule out effects of other features in the 1994 Crime Act of a host of several states and initiatives that took place simultaneously. Assault weapons, numbers, and murder trends. In the imposition of Feinstein's assault weapons ban in September 13, 1994, though the presence of the number of assault weapons has risen dramatically. For example, the most common firearm that Feinstein considers an assault weapon is an AR-15 rifle. The manufacturer numbers of which can be gleaned from the BATFE's firearm manufacturer reports available From 1995 to 2011, the number of AR-15s and all models which Feinstein's new bill defines as assault weapons rose by over 2.5 million. During the same period, the nation's murder rate fell 48% to a 48-year low, according to FBI, 8.5 times. 8.5 times as many people are murdered with knives, blunt objects, and bare hands as with rifles of any type. And that wants me to read this again. All right. From 1995 to 2011, the number of AR-15s, all models, of which Feinstein's new bill defines as assault weapons, arose by over 2.5 million. During the same period, the nation's murder rate fell 48% to a 48-year low, according to FBI's 8.5 times as many people that are murdered with knives and blunt objects and bare hands and rifles and any other type traces. Feinstein makes several claims and premises on the firearm traces, hoping to convince people. Okay, I'm not going to read that one right there. I'm going to go on there. Call your U.S. senators and representatives, as noted. Feinstein intends to introduce her bill on January 3rd. President Obama has said that gun control will be a central issue of his final term in office, and he has vowed to move quickly on it. Contact your members of Congress, and of course, you can contact them. But if anybody like Rand Paul, they already done sold out. So, what hope you got for that, huh? What hope do you got? What are these representatives, huh? They always pretend to be a representative of the people, but not for the people. And there is a big difference. It's utterly appalling and amazing when you're dealing with this type of mindset in this country. I mean, it's deranged. I think it's the fluoride. I think it's all the shots that we're taking, the snake venom, the monkeypox, the mercury, and everything else that is messing with our mind, as well as all the cocaine and everything else that a lot of these mayors and senators constantly keep getting caught doing over and over and over again. Y'all remember Marion Barry? I mean, it's just off the chain. I think that these people are part of some sick sorority or fraternity or something. I mean, I don't know what in the world's going on today, but I will tell you this, huh? You better fight for your right.